Hey there, you're tuning in to LowKey by Oaky, our easygoing sessions for hotel professionals where we chat about industry trends, issues, and solutions.
Warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of LowKey by Oaky. Today we're joined by someone I've known for many, many years, Martin Morawski, a specialist within something so niched as VAT, which actually can have a massive, massive impact on a business. Martin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Erik. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All good. We're super happy to have you. I think the first thing which I'd love to know for anyone just tuning in to the podcast, why should they stick around for the coming 25, 30 minutes?
Excellent question. So Oaky is of course all about, generating more revenue, profitability. And I think there are more ways to do that. I mean, a very simple manner is selling more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you think a bit more about how can we, be more profitable, I think tax optimization, also VAT optimization, is a very interesting topic. Because in the end, the less VAT you have to pay to the government, the more you can keep yourself, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense, I think.
And why are you like an authority in this topic? Why should people listen to you?
Okay, you're very flattering, Erik. Authority is a big word now. So my history is I am a partner now with Hamelink and Tooren. That's a tax law firm in the Netherlands. And before that, I worked for 14 years with Baker and McKenzie in Amsterdam. It's an international law firm specializing in tax law and more specifically VAT. I have worked with a lot of OTAs, booking platforms, travel agencies, and also larger hotel chains. So I know a little bit about VAT in the hotel industry. Yeah.
So all of our customers, I don't know if now profitability is more important than ever, but it's certainly a topic. When we think about the biggest hotel chains, they probably know a lot about VAT. But when going down to smaller hotel chains or even independent hotels, I don't know if this is just something that you take for granted. It's 21% that you have to pay. So if you think about just like broadly, how should a hotel or hotel chain look at VAT and kind of the opportunities that there are to optimize for, delivering the same guest experience, I guess, but ensuring that you actually get more profitable through optimization.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe a couple of things here. If we look at the bigger hotel chains, my experience is that they have big tax teams in-house. So they will be aware of, the more broader picture. What I also see is that VAT is being often seen as a compliance thing, right? But I like to think of it a bit more as an opportunity thing. Yes, you need to be compliant, but you can also use VAT to optimize your revenue streams. I think what I'm going to tell today may help them in the end.
Stick around, everyone, for some actionable tips and tricks. So when we think about, I wrote down optimized revenue streams. Obviously, the biggest revenue stream is the rooms. So why don't we start there? What can a hotel do to optimize VAT planning when it comes to room revenue?
Right. So let me maybe start by saying that if we look at the hotel business and VAT, that's a very, very interesting one for a tax lawyer. Because if we look what hotels do, they are into real estate. They lease real estate. You have cancellation fees. You have vouchers. You have complimentary services for free charges, A lot of interesting stuff from a VAT perspective.
Why are they interesting from a VAT perspective?
Because it's a very, very gray area. If you, for example, talk about cancellation fees, the question there is there VAT due on that, yes or no? And then we have to boil back to the question, why are guests paying cancellation fees? Maybe that's a question to you, Erik. What do you think?
A guest pay a cancellation fee in order to get access to a rate that is lower when they book than they would have otherwise gotten. So they basically say, I'm willing to pay a lower fee, but if I don't show up, then I need to pay. I need to pay up, basically.
Yeah. So for VAT, the question is, why are you paying the fee? And there are two thoughts here. Either the guest is paying the fee as a payment for damages and for not showing up. Mm-hmm. The hotel cannot, sell the room anymore, so there's damage. and you need to pay for the damage. For VAT, a damage payment is out of scope, meaning there is no VAT due on that. The other way of thinking about it is that the guest pays a cancellation fee because it had the right to make use of the room. And selling a right is something for VAT.
Interesting.
So how do you look at it?
And so what you're saying, if you position it as a potential damage that the guest is not showing up to the business, then you actually can be exempt for VAT on that cancellation fee.
Exactly. This is a kind of a gray area in the field of VAT, and there's some conflicting case law. But some cases say, yeah, if it's clear it's a payment for damages, it can stay out of scope of VAT. But if you, sell it as the right to make use of the room, but in the end you're not actually making use of it, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because you're buying the right, and on the right there is VAT. So how can hotels make use of that knowledge? If you contract with the customer in a way that is very clear that a cancellation fee is a payment for damages, you could stay out of scope of VAT.
And how do you do that? You just need to make sure that that's part of the communication in like the terms and service of the booking, or?
Exactly.
Okay.
So for VAT, the terms of service and the contracts are the starting point.
Yeah.
So make very clear in the terms of service that a cancellation fee is a payment for damages. But also the customer journey is very important, because of course you can agree whatever you want, but if it doesn't match with what's actually happening, the customer journey, so you need to make sure everything is, clear on that as well, on the website, commercial announcement, etc., etc.
And what are we talking here? Like hotels make, I'm just back of the envelope math, a hotel with 100 rooms that have 80% occupancy, they make millions of euros every month on
Cancellation fees.
Well, yeah, it depends how much cancellations they have. But let's say they have €1 million in cancellation. So how much can they stand to gain by removing this VAT?
So VAT is especially interesting in a B2C environment. Why is that? Because in a B2C environment, you need to communicate the prices inclusive of VAT. So let's say a cancellation fee is 100 and the VAT rate is 20%. If I need to pay 20% VAT on the 100 cancellation fee, I need to extract that VAT from the 100. So if there's VAT on that, I get to keep 80.
Yeah.
If there's no VAT on that, I get to keep 100, which of course makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's substantial.
Yeah.
How many hotels do you think go the route with damages? Like how underutilized do you suspect that this is?
I think that this is a gray area, and many hotels know it's a gray area, especially the bigger chains. And I'm not sure, Erik, how conservative they are approaching these kind of things, but I know for sure that a lot of hotels do not look at this sufficiently as they should.
Yeah.
Especially maybe the mid-size hotel chains. I'm not sure whether this is sufficiently on the radar yet.
So we talked about cancellation fees. Another super interesting topic is vouchers.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not every independent hotel, but I would bet you every single chain sell vouchers that you can redeem for anything and everything.
Yeah.
What about those? Like, is that VAT only payable upon redemption of the actual voucher? Or like, how does that work?
That's a very good question. And I do agree with you. I mean, almost all hotels are selling vouchers, right? Especially now with the holidays, coming up. We see a lot of vouchers being sold, right? To give us a present. Is there VAT on that, yes or no? So for VAT, we need to distinguish vouchers between single-purpose vouchers and multi-purpose vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? If I'm selling a single-purpose voucher, it means that at the moment of selling the voucher, we know exactly already what the VAT treatment is going to be of the underlying service. So for example, if I'm selling a voucher, I'm a hotel chain selling a voucher for a room specifically in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
At the moment of selling, I know what is the VAT treatment of that sale.
Yeah.
It's 9%.
Because it's a room.
Dutch VAT.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because it's a single purpose voucher, the VAT is due at the moment of the sale of the voucher,
Okay.
regardless of the question whether I actually make use
Okay.
of that room. Multi-purpose voucher. So that is a voucher at the moment of sale. I'm not yet sure what the VAT treatment is going to be of the underlying service. Example, it's a voucher and you can use it for a hotel room either in Amsterdam or let's say Berlin.
Can I
Right.
also use it for F&B or spa?
You could, yeah.
Yeah, anything basically.
That's also a multi-purpose voucher. What is important is at the moment of selling the voucher, I don't know what the VAT treatment of the underlying service is going to be.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about being a multi-purpose voucher is that at the moment of the sale of the voucher, there is no VAT due yet. It only becomes due at the moment of redemption of the voucher.
Okay.
Which effectively means if the voucher is not being used, I can keep the entire amount of the voucher.
And
Right.
if it is used, it means that the guest will, or the consumer ends up basically paying an additional, or like how does that work?
No, so if it is used, the hotel chain still needs to pay the VAT at that moment.
Okay.
So the real benefit here is vouchers that are not being used in the end.
Yeah.
Which statistically happens a lot. I know.
I went to Spain a couple of weeks ago, and there was a voucher company. They talked about something crazy. 20-30% of vouchers never get used.
Exactly.
And then they expire after a few years. So then it's just
Exactly.
Yeah, very
So how do we tweak this? How do we make a multi-purpose voucher? Make sure that you can use the voucher for multiple things. For example, make sure you can also use it for a drink. You know, next to the hotel rate or whatever. Or make sure that you can use it in multiple cities across the globe.
yeah.
That makes it a multi-purpose voucher.
What is I'm curious to learn about VAT ranges. You talked about 9% for a room, 20-something% for other items here in Holland. Like in all of the countries of the world, what is the lowest VAT versus the highest? Like what ranges are we looking at?
So when we are speaking about VAT rates, we have 0%, and I think it goes up to even 25%.
Okay.
And the difficulty here is that although the VAT system, the mechanics are largely the same in each country, it's a tax on consumption, it's a tax on the supply of goods and services. However, countries have very different, details on how they implemented the VAT.
Yeah.
So even in the EU, VAT is harmonized, but every country has its specifics when it comes to VAT rates. In one country, hotel rooms are 9%, that's the low VAT rate. In other countries, it can be 25%. So there's a lot of difference there. Also, when it comes to food and beverage, a lot of countries have reduced VAT rates for food, some countries don't. So yeah, there's a lot of difference.
So if I'm a hotel based in Holland, but I have customers coming from all over the place, then I'd only need to worry about Dutch VAT. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if you have guests coming from all over the world, but you're based in the Netherlands, all that matters to you is the Dutch VAT. However, things become, of course, more complicated when you have more hotels in different countries, right? So you need to keep track of all the VAT rules in all the different countries.
And that's why your job exists, I would imagine.
Yeah, so from experience, I know that it's very difficult to keep track of all the updates in the world. There's, a lot of changes to VAT laws globally. It's a very important, revenue stream for government. So, yeah, things are changing constantly at a very rapid pace. So the challenge that I'm seeing what hotels have with VAT is to, keep updated with all the changes here in terms of VAT rates, in terms of, exemptions, exceptions, etc. That is what I'm seeing.
But before we go into that and kind of talk about the future, so we talked about cancellations and vouchers, multi-purpose vouchers.
Yeah.
What about bundling deals? What's the opportunity there versus selling deals individually?
That's an interesting topic. So a little bit of VAT technique.
Okay.
For VAT, each and every supply that you're making should be seen as distinct. So for example, I'm selling a bundle of a hotel room, and next to the hotel room, you can, for example, make use of the spa.
Yeah.
Right? So the general thought is that the hotel room and the spa are separate supplies. Why can that be important? In a specific country, a hotel room can be the low VAT rate,
Yeah.
whereas entrance to the spa can be the normal VAT rate,
Yeah.
right? It would be nice if we can make sure that entrance to the spa could also benefit from the low VAT rate, right?
That would be nice. Yeah.
That would be nice. How are we going to do that? There's not a specific rule on that, but basically what you need to do is make sure that those two supplies are being seen as one supply, of which the main element is the hotel room. And entrance to the spa is kind of ancillary
Yeah.
to the hotel room. How do we do that? Again, there's no specific rule. It's based on facts and circumstances. How do we present it? And it can be little things. For example, the pricing, right? If you charge one price for both supplies, that's already an indicator, that it's one bundle, one complex supply. It also has to do with how do you present it on your website, Do you present it as, hey, I'm selling a hotel room and entrance to the spa? Or are you selling it as, hey, I'm selling a hotel room, and you could also maybe, if you feel like it, make use of the spa. It's the small details. So, but in the end, if you are able to present it as a bundle of which the predominant element is the hotel room, you may benefit from a better VAT rate.
Are there examples where you can bundle like 5-6 things, or does that get too extreme, or would that not even be beneficial?
I think in theory that could exist, but of course, bundling 5-6 things that is tricky in practice. Yeah. I think bundling, one main element with an ancillary element, that's more common.
So we've been doing upselling for 10 years. The number one item that is always up. So can you guess what that is?
Food and beverage?
Yeah, but then more specifically?
Alcohol?
No. No, breakfast.
Breakfast, all right.
So it's a massive money maker because it's a cash cow. It's always there, but it's also very, it's low margins compared to a room upgrade, for example.
Yeah.
So what I don't see hotels doing enough is maybe bundling indeed then the breakfast with a room upgrade, for example. If that could allow them to still sell a lot of room upgrades, but the breakfast is an ancillary item to that, then they could potentially lower and have significantly higher margin than on the breakfast itself.
Yeah, so if you look at food and beverage, in most countries, that's already subject to the low VAT rate.
It is already.
Right,
okay.
Yeah, so they're already benefiting from that.
Okay.
What could, for example, be an option to think about is some countries have a high VAT rate on hotel rooms and a low VAT rate on drinks, food and beverage. So if they, for example, guests make use of the minibar in a hotel room against one price, you could either say, hey, that's one price against the standard VAT rate because it's a hotel room, or you could extract the drinks from the room rate and then make it a low rate supply.
On that specific item.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of things that can be done. It's very interesting to learn more about this topic. What about the future? What does that have in hold? You mentioned across the world, there's constant changes. First of all, why is there constant change? Like, why do, I guess it's the governments that change how the VAT work? Like, why are they doing that?
It's a very simple answer, Erik. Governments need money. And yeah, in the end, the VAT is a very, very important money machine for governments. So they want to ensure to collect as much VAT as possible. So yeah, we see a lot of developments in terms of VAT rates, in terms of VAT rules around who should be paying the VAT, etc. Let me give you one simple example. Now the discussion in the Netherlands is to increase the VAT rate on hotel rooms from 9% to 21%.
Wow.
Yeah, as of 26.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
Right?
But what happens then? People get together from the industry to fight this, but they, I don't know, can they?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of lobby groups of hotel chains not wanting to have the change implemented, obviously. So yeah, they are fighting the change, which makes sense. But as it looks right now, it will take place as of 2026.
Wow.
And this is only the Netherlands, right? We have a lot of countries with a lot of different rules. So yeah, again, it's very, very important to be up to speed and to stay updated on these kind of changes.
Is the hotel industry specifically targeted for some reason in this increase of VAT, or do you also see it across other verticals?
No, I don't think it's a specific attack on the hotel industry. Again, I think it's a way to generate more money.
Yeah.
And, things that are being seen as a bit more luxurious, let's call it like that, that's more easy for governments, to increase the VAT rate on. It's easier to sell, right, to the public.
So what do you think will happen? We will continue to find smart ways to optimize VAT, or when it goes from 9% to 21%, the one who pays the bill is just higher rates for hotels. Hotels make similar profitability, but ultimately the one who pays the bill is the customer, the hotel guest.
The one who pays the bill is the customer in the end. So what will the effect be? In the end, the consumer will pay more for hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, the hotel is willing, to pay the difference, which I don't think will happen. So yeah, in the end, the customer will pay it, Erik. That's how it is.
That would make the Netherlands less competitive, I would imagine, on the hotel market versus other. I don't know, for all the listeners, we are based in Amsterdam now. Amsterdam had this marketing campaign to not have British stag parties coming to Amsterdam. And they increased the tax, the city tax, significantly. Yeah. And then what happened was the stag parties kept on coming because they didn't care. And then all the business people, they decided to not go to Amsterdam anymore. So it was like, it went completely the other way around.
Increasing the VAT rate can have that effect. For example, if you are a business traveler and you have to choose between Amsterdam and a location where you still have the low VAT rate, it may be more beneficial and cost efficient for businesses to go to that other destination, right? Instead of Amsterdam. Yeah.
Then I think in the future, we just have to find a way to bundle with something else potentially, or figuring out more creative ways, as I'm sure you will be able to do, Martin.
I think so, yeah. I mean, we have to be creative. We have to think of new solutions, Erik.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Yeah. So Martin, thanks so much for this. The second part of the LowKey by Oaky pod is always a shameless plug. So please, the floor is yours. What would you like to talk about or market to our audience?
Wow, a shameless plug. So I'm not sure if it's shameless, but what I would like the listener to take away is that, if you would like to speak about VAT with someone who knows the industry, who has been advising OTAs, hotel chains for several years, very happy to talk with you. You can find me on LinkedIn, Martin Morawski. Reach out, no strings attached. Happy to have a talk and discuss what's possible for you.
Nice. Thanks so much, Martin. This was an amazing conversation. I can't believe it's been 25 minutes already. VAT to me was I went into this conversation not knowing a lot, to be honest. I thought it was stood for value-added tax, which I confirmed with you right before we started recording. What we've learned is that VAT is actually a really significant way that hotels and hotel chains can get more profitable. There are ways to optimize VAT, such as ensuring that you don't pay VAT on no-show, cancellation fees. Vouchers was very interesting. You can even bundle different VAT rates, albeit a little bit of a lower impact, because in the other ones you go from VAT to no VAT, which obviously is pretty huge. But in the other one, you can still do a lot. We also learned that VAT is an ever complex, continuously changing landscape. And that's probably why you need someone who's a specialist within the area if you really want to make a difference. And that the VAT potentially is going up in a lot of countries in the coming couple of years. So more room for creativity. And in our ever search for profitability within hotels and hotel chains, please get in touch with Martin and see how you can optimize your VAT in the future. Thanks so much for joining us, Martin.
Thanks for having me, Erik.